So Kyrie Irving, what can I say? This dude just keeps getting into like I don't want to say trouble, but for lack of a better term, trouble. And this time I don't even think it's really on him. It is on everybody else who is like talking about it, like in the media and the league and stuff like that. And they have like derailed this man's whole season, basically, in my opinion, all because of this. This past like week or so, Kyrie posted a picture, I think, of a movie that is on Amazon. It is a documentary, which I don't know why people are so pissed off about it because it's a documentary and it's still on that platform, right? No one's anger is directed toward Amazon for the movie being on there, but whatever. They're pissed off at him, and I'll get to that. But he posted a picture or a screenshot or something like that of a documentary on his Instagram story, basically at the height of all this Kanye stuff. Now, I'm not going to necessarily repeat what Kanye did. I feel like everybody knows. And you know how social media is. You say one thing that they don't like and they'll take it down in an instant. So I'm going to just keep my mouth shut for now, especially because I already talked about it. But at the height of all the Kanye drama, he posted a picture of a movie, a documentary, for his own reasons. Like I said, he didn't go into specifics as to why he posted it, but he caught a lot of flack for it because the film was flagged by the masses as anti-Semitic. And it's funny because I've never heard the word anti-Semitic be used this much in my entire life. Just like last year, I have never heard of a flurry of Asian people being attacked as much as I did last year. And then the year before that, I never heard so many unarmed black men be shot and killed by the police in such a short amount of time. So all this is kind of ironic to me. It doesn't seem coincidental, but I'm going to just leave it at that. But he posted that and he got a lot of flack for it. And everybody, primarily like the media, like are trying to insinuate that he is anti-Semitic, right? They're in press conferences. They're asking him questions about it, like, why did he post it? Is he anti-Semitic? Which is weird because when it got to that point, it felt like you're guilty until proven innocent. Like, because you posted it, we deem you anti-Semitic, and now it is up to you to tell us that you're not anti-Semitic. Because he wasn't answering their questions the way that they wanted him to answer. Right? He was giving them all these, like, for lack of a better term, cryptic answers or whatever.
Kyrie, for the record, do you have any anti-Semitic beliefs?
I told you guys how I felt. I respect all walks of life and embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit.
Now, in the midst of it, he said that if there's anything anti-Semitic in the film, I don't subscribe to that, but I still posted it for my own reasons. That wasn't good enough for them. They wanted an apology. And I kind of compared it to like if you've ever seen The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. In it, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's a white guy, if you don't know, he was doing a scene in which he had to say the N-word to one of the black actors.
Does the N-word offend you?
No, sir.
I was thinking like, you know, that's like if I posted a screenshot of that movie and somebody was like, what are you, a racist now? Because Stone Cold Steve Austin said the N-word. And I'm like, well, I don't think that was a good part of the movie, but I like the movie for my own reasons. Well, no, that's not good enough. You need to prove to us you're not a racist before we can let you move on with your life. So I feel like it's kind of that situation right now where he posted it for his own reasons, but that wasn't good enough for them. And now he has to like prove that he's not anti-Semitic to them as if that really matters. But apparently it does because he's been buried alive, so to speak.
But I'm alive.
And for a little bit, he wouldn't apologize. And I'm like, you know, yeah, you don't need to apologize for doing it. Maybe apologizing because you didn't emphasize as to what you meant, and a lot of people can misconstrue what you say. I don't have an issue with that, but apologizing specifically for posting it as if the media or the NBA or the Brooklyn Nets, which is the team he plays for, as if they are justified in hijacking his personal reasons for posting that. But they bullied him out of an apology. He ended up posting one, and it was pretty lengthy. I'll just kind of go through like the highlights of it because it was really long. He posted it on his Instagram. He said, while doing research on Yahweh, I posted a documentary that contains some false anti-Semitic statements, narratives, and language that were untrue and offensive to the Jewish race/religion, and I take full accountability and responsibility for my actions. I am grateful to have a big platform to share knowledge, and I want to move forward by having an open dialogue to learn more and grow from this. And then he goes on to basically apologize some more, and that's that. That's the apology, right? But that's not good enough, right? And this is my frustration with apologies, right? Joe Rogan went through this last year, I think, when he got, it was either last year or earlier this year, where like the White House and other media outlets were basically trying to get him canceled because they felt like he was spreading vaccine misinformation. And when that didn't work, they went into the archives and found, I guess, old episodes of his podcast in which he said the N-word, when he was referring to some historical context or quoting someone, and instead of saying the N-word, he actually said the word. And that somebody made like a 30-second compilation of it. It looked horrible, and he apologized for it. Now, like I said, I'm not opposed to people apologizing for maybe others getting hurt by it, but apologizing for necessarily what you did, being bullied out of an apology for posting something, especially because you aren't required to explain, especially to the media, why you do what you do, that's frustrating to me, because it doesn't just stop there. When you give these people an inch, they take a mile. So when they say, we want you to apologize, Kyrie, it is not, we just simply want you to apologize. It's, we want you to apologize how we want you to apologize. And they even said it in the press conference, talking about how, well, that's not what people want to hear.
I think what people want to hear, though, is just a yes or no on that question. Yes or no.
Right. So even though he posted this very lengthy apology, that still wasn't enough. And media outlets, they got on top of him. Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, Jalen Rose, all these black sports commentators just dogpiled on Kyrie because he didn't deliver the apology that they wanted, right? It wasn't good enough for them.
Kyrie seemed to be, he hiding behind this little pathetic statement.
So in steps the Brooklyn Nets, the team that he plays for. They took action against him, and they're basically making him get on his hands and knees and beg to come back to the team, because they suspended him for at least 5 games without pay. And then after that suspension, they released basically this like list of demands that he must meet before he can return to the team. And I'm gonna read you this foolishness because it's absolutely ridiculous. So in order for Kyrie to come back to the Nets to play basketball, everyone's on Kyrie's case because he hasn't been available to play basketball consistently over the past 6 years. Over the past 2 years, when he's actually wanted to play basketball, when he's been available and hasn't had to deal with any personal issues, they keep taking him away from the game. So that's kind of funny to me how they want to complain about that, but whatever. These are the list of ridiculous demands that he has to meet in order to return to the team. He must apologize and condemn the movie, which he already apologized, but like I said, that wasn't good enough. And condemning the movie is basically allowing them to be able to strip his meaning away from it, right? Why he posted it, why he shared it, which is ridiculous, but whatever. Donate $500,000 to the Anti-Defamation League, which he already tried to. They already bullied him out of trying to donate $500,000, and they rejected it, right? I guess they didn't want to accept it, but he still has to do it, which is ridiculous. He has to do sensitivity training. He has to do anti-Semitic training. He has to meet with the Anti-Defamation League and other Jewish leaders, and he has to meet with the owner of the Brooklyn Nets to demonstrate basically an understanding of why he was wrong and why he won't ever do that again. That's ridiculous. Now, what's ironic is that now the media is like all up in arms about, I can't believe the Brooklyn Nets are making him do all this stuff. And it's so funny to me because they don't even recognize what it is that they have done. All of this stuff happening to Kyrie Irving is their fault. And before I explain why, I'm going to let Shannon Sharp take it away. He was on Undisputed, which is his talk show with Skip Bayless, basically talking about how it's ridiculous. Stephen A. Smith was on one too, but I don't really have the time to play all of them because they're going to drive me insane. I can only handle one at a time. But he's basically expressing how this only happens to black players, and if it was a white player, it would be different, which is complete BS, but I'm going to just let you listen to this ridiculousness.
It seems like other groups offend blacks, and they never suffer the penalty that Kyrie and Kanye have suffered.
It's just funny because, like somebody like Shannon Sharp, somebody like Stephen A. Smith, somebody like Jalen Rose, they're now pissed at the Nets because of the punishment that has rolled out, right? They don't like that. But I followed it up with like a couple of tweets because the irony in their statements is hilarious because they don't even see it. So I tweeted this after I saw that. I said, Shannon doesn't realize that the reason Kyrie and Kanye, because they were talking about Kanye as well. It might have been in this clip or in a different one. But I said, Shannon doesn't realize that the reason Kyrie and Kanye are getting this much heat is because most of the sports and pop culture media has been attacking them, i.e. people who look like them. So black people, a lot of the prominent black figures in the media have been relentlessly attacking Kyrie and Kanye like it's nobody's business. I said Myers Leonard was immediately dealt with before anyone got on that story. So Shannon Sharp talking about how if a white player did this or a white person did that nothing would happen. Stop it. Myers Leonard slipped up, right? Which I'm not justifying what he said, but I've already talked about it on here. If you haven't heard about what happened to him, to make a long story short, he was playing Call of Duty. Somebody shot at him. He said a bad word. It was a slur for Jewish people. But in his defense, and like I said, I can attest to this and a bunch of other people can, if you are playing a game and something happens, stuff comes out of your mouth that you probably didn't mean, it doesn't justify it. But in understanding that you can offer somebody grace, knowing that they're probably not racist or anti-Semitic, but that they need to watch what they say, right? But it's a mistake everybody makes them. You apologize, you might deal with them, and then you move on. That did not happen to him. As soon as he said that word on his live stream, because he was live streaming it, he got like a phone call. He ended his live stream. I feel like almost immediately, maybe a couple hours or like a day later, he was suspended. He was fined $50,000 to be exact. He had to attend all these trainings about diversity and inclusion. Did I say he got suspended? He got cut, or he got traded. Then he got cut. He hasn't been in the NBA since, and that was well over a year and a half ago. And he was white. That was before the media dug their talons into him and ridiculed him at every turn because he's not a human being, right? He's supposed to be perfect. And if he messes up, well, then, I mean, we have the right to judge him, right? Because that's basically how they operated. But they did that after he got dealt with. For a guy like Anthony Edwards, who I've talked about on here before, where he got in trouble for saying some homophobic stuff, he got fined $40,000 less. But that came like 5 days after he said what he said. He said what he said, and they allowed the dust to settle just to see how the media was going to react to it. Because it is different for black and white players, right? Us black people, we have been oppressed. Therefore, white people nowadays, number one, they have to feel sorry for being white. And number two, they have to cater to us and to our needs and to our feelings. They have to beat around the bush when dealing with us. Because if they make one wrong move, they're a racist and their career is over. So they let the dust settle with Anthony Edwards. And once they started to see a little bit of the media come after him, all right, well, then they hit him with a punishment a week later. You're fined $40,000 and you apologize. That's it. And he was playing basketball basically the very next day. Kyrie Irving. Even though I don't agree with all these punishments, what I will say is that the race card still holds up. After Kyrie posted what he posted, the NBA and the Brooklyn Nets allotted so much time for him to roll back his position, right? To apologize for posting the film, or I guess take back anything he said about it, before saying, you know what, we just don't think that this is okay, so we're going to punish him, right? They took forever, but they finally did it. And now everybody, at least the media, they're all mad at it. So then I go on to say the Nets, Nike, etc., they don't want to appear racist or anti-Semitic, so they took extensive action once they saw almost all of the black media was getting on Kyrie and Kanye. Otherwise, they wouldn't have cared about it, because do you really think that Nike or any of these other companies care about social justice? The answer is no, right? If the sports media did not jump on Kyrie Irving and go after him like a pack of wolves, the Brooklyn Nets, Nike, all these other companies, they wouldn't have thought twice about it. Maybe urged him to apologize or say something just to jump out in front of it, but they would have stayed silent until they saw if the dust was going to settle or not. If the dust settled and no one was making a big fuss out of it, they would have moved on and Kyrie would be playing basketball right now. because at the end of the day, they don't care. They don't care about social justice issues. They don't care about issues going on in the world. They care about making money, right? So they can't appear anti-Semitic or racist, because if they are seen standing in solidarity with Kyrie, that's going to hurt their pockets, because the public perception is that he's anti-Semitic now. So fans aren't going to want to come to the games. They're not going to want to support. If they feel like the team or the company is supporting somebody who they have painted as anti-Semitic without really talking to him to try to see what his perspective is, just trying to bully an apology out of him because you have nothing better to do with your time. And that's not even where it stops. Like I said, the media, they're the main culprits for this one. I go on to say the media is just responding now because they were getting heat from all the other black people. Like all the other black people who are just watching this unfold, they were getting heat, basically talking about how they're tripping, right? And those guys, they got to get paid. So they're going to be quick to dog out Kyrie or Kanye with no questions asked, in the hopes that what they say doesn't get a lot of attention so that they don't have to backtrack, right? Because we are very tribal in this country. So if it's a bunch of black political commentators dogging out Kyrie Irving or Kanye West, people are going to hop on their case, and they're going to do it in waves. So when you look at guys like Shannon Sharp or Stephen A. Smith, right? Like I said, these guys, they got to get paid, right? They are some of the most prominent sports commentators on TV, and especially in the black community. They got to get paid. And I've said this before, prominent black people have no problem with selling out other black people as long as they get paid, i.e. why I keep bringing up Lil Durk. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's probably a genuine person. But once again, you dress up head to toe in Marc Jacobs and you promote that primarily to black people, you know that we're going to use our hard-earned money to buy that, because we're trying to put on this front that, you know, our life matters and we're not insecure about anything. And hey, look at us. We've got on these cool clothes. He doesn't mind, for lack of a better term, selling out, because he's about to make a few $100,000 just to put on some freaking clothes to promote it to us. So you look at these commentators, these sports commentators, they have no problem jumping on the bandwagon of Kyrie Irving is anti-Semitic, because if they are seen agreeing with Kyrie Irving in any way, shape, or form, and the public perception, even though it's not true, the public perception is that Kyrie Irving is anti-Semitic, that hurts them. You want to know why it hurts them? Is because the people who run the show are going to look at that and say, that's a little problematic, right? And here's where the irony lies, right? It lies in twofold. Number one, like I said, they're mad at the punishment, but they don't realize that the punishment ensued because of them. Like I said, Nike, the Nets, they don't care about this. They just don't want to look racist or anti-Semitic. So if they see a bunch of black sports commentators harping on another black man, a black player, they're going to be like, oh, crap, we need to take action now, right? We try to let the dust settle, and it's not settling, right? These guys are pissed. We gotta hop on this. We gotta do something, because we don't want to look racist or anti-Semitic to the rest of the world. So we gotta abide by what these guys want, right? They obviously want to lay the hammer down because they won't shut up about it. They keep going after this man. So boom, they lay down the hammer. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you guys punished him like that. That only happens to black players. I can't believe. Irony. It's hilarious because they don't even see it. And then the other ironic part of it is how much these black commentators talk about how the white man's holding them down, or how racism is this and that in sports, or whatever the case may be. And once again, they're so tribal when they want to be. Who owns Fox Sports? A white man. Who owns ESPN? A white man. In America, as black people, and this is why I have a frustration with arguments of racism and all of these things, because in my opinion, a lot of the times it's just one big distraction. In America, we don't own anything. We have no land. We have no property. We have no leverage whatsoever, because we're so distracted by, oh my goodness, a white person said the N-word, which I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying that you should go out there and say that, but someone says it, instead of just brushing it off and saying, oh, this is probably an ignorant or a rude person. Nah, we go into the streets in waves to protest a white person saying the N-word or saying something mean to us or something like that. I'm obviously exaggerating, but you get my point. But we don't own anything, and we have no leaders who are willing to step up and who are trying to change that tide. And the leaders who do step up, they're ridiculed at every turn. They're either a racist or they're anti-Semitic, or from the black community, they're an Uncle Tom or they're a sellout. Well, I'll tell you who the real sellouts are. All these guys who are on TV, who are on ESPN, who are on Fox News, dogging out guys like Kyrie Irving because they want to get paid. Who's paying them? The big bad white man who they all can't stand so much, who they blame everything for. Those are their bosses. Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, all these guys, they can't be seen on TV siding with Kyrie Irving in any way, shape, or form, because that appears to the masses that they are supporting an anti-Semitic person or a racist person or a sexist person. They can't have that. So instead of growing a spine, a backbone, and saying, you know what, F that, I'll take the ridicule. Because even if I'm not a big fan of the movie, Kyrie said that if there are any anti-Semitic points in it that I do not agree with it, and he apologized, you could be like, you know what? Okay, well then fine. He has the right to post a picture of it. All right, maybe he should apologize for not clearing up the points in the movie in which he wanted to relay to the masses, but then just leave it at that, right? They got to harp on him and they got to dog him day after day after day, because that's going to ensure that they're going to continue to get paid. From who?
White people.
Right? So I didn't got to say anything else, but it's hilarious because all this is happening, right? Stuff's on fire. The sky's falling. Look who's sitting pretty. Amazon. The movie's still on Amazon. No one's pissed off at them, but everybody's mad at Kyrie, right? Solid distraction. Got to think this stuff through, because they got this game on lock, and it is airtight. They know what they're doing. And if you don't sit down for 2 seconds to figure out what's going on, you're going to get caught up in it too. Keep an open mind, right? Become the leaders, because clearly we're lacking some in our community and just in the world, period.